You know, the timer being 1 minute long might actually be good because then I can't mess up the intro that much. So now I have 50 seconds to welcome people. So that actually might work out. Trying a new intro song, a new intro screen. We'll see how it works over the next few streams. I'll see which one I want to stick with. So let's see what we have here in the chat so far. We have Tornado. We also have Justin, Proxy, Legacy, Pete. We have, let's see, Heaven as well as Twin, Kevin, Logan, Jason, and everyone else in the chat who may just be watching and not chatting. Glad to have you here. I guess we'll just keep that. You'll hear, yeah, a little beep right there. I think it being 1 minute long is actually pretty good because then I could just wait to switch screens. So, yeah, we'll switch screens in 10 seconds. So hopefully all you guys are having a great Tuesday so far. And yeah, let's go ahead and dive right on into this. Once this counter hit 0, there you go. Now we'll switch our scene on over. So yeah, we got quite a bit to talk about in the Department of Severe Weather, quite a bit to go over. Especially with the downtrends that have occurred over the last 48 hours. Today's risk is thankfully downtrended quite significantly, especially across Kansas and Missouri. So, not going to be seeing a derecho today. That is for sure. Definitely not seeing a derecho today, but we're definitely seeing multiple areas of severe weather. If we go and fix our map here a little bit, turn on our nationwide radar, we actually have quite a bit going on across the country, and I think we have a new SPC outlook that has came out here. And we had 4 different slight risks for severe weather today. A lot of severe weather on the table across many different portions of the country, but thankfully it won't be too significant. There will be a problem with some isolated large hail and isolated significant damaging winds upwards of 75, 80 miles per hour, but it's a conditional significant threat, especially on the hail department side of things. So definitely going to see some severe weather today, and I'll go ahead and show you guys the probability here. We do have a very little tornado risk, just a general decent sized 2% tornado risk out here across Kansas and Nebraska. We also have that wind threat, but like I said, it is on the conditional side of things. Although if you are in that yellow hatched area, it's a little less conditional. So we just somewhere in this hatched region, somewhere in the hatched region from all the way up here in Montana, very long hatched area, all the way down to Kansas City, Missouri, we can't rule out a gust upwards of 80 miles per hour. And then there's also the chance for some large hail, specifically back out here towards Colorado, Nebraska, northwest Kansas, and northeast Kansas. That's where we'll be watching for the potential of up to about 2-inch hail today. And they actually added a hatched area back up here too, back up towards Wisconsin. I don't think any of these are doing much in the hail department side of things, but we can't rule out, up to 2-inch hail up here as well. So not overly significant, but there will be a few significant reports for severe weather today, but not as significant as what we were originally anticipating 2 days ago. We're not going to be seeing any type of tornado outbreak, which we never thought that was going to be a possibility, but we were kind of leaning towards a better tornado threat being possible today and a better wind threat being possible today than the last couple of days, and it doesn't seem like that will be much of the case. Do you think the tornado risk is a total loss? I don't think it is a total loss, but I don't think it's going to be much of a problem. If we go ahead and switch over to our model data here, we'll go over to Kansas and Missouri. There is going to be a little corridor that sets up for some okay potential for some severe weather, but it's still downtrending actively. It is still downtrending out here. So I'm not too impressed with it. I wouldn't call it a total loss for your tornado threat. I wouldn't rule out 2-inch hail, 70 to 80 mile an hour winds, and a tornado or two possible in this little vicinity here. But really, I don't think the tornado threat will be all that high, and all it takes is for storms to be a bit more clustered like what it shows here, and we're not going to end up with all that big of a wind threat and tornado threat. So we'll need to keep an eye on it. It's very boom or bust today, and that's very good because we were thinking today would be a much bigger boom for severe weather than what is originally was forecasted. And now it seems like it's more of a conditional threat, not really too big of a problem. If we go back out here, I do want to go to your Rockies kind of the eastern Rockies here. We could see a few isolated supercells try to fire in this mess too. I know it doesn't look like it, but inside of this mess, we could see a couple supercells, and inside of this mess, we could see a couple supercells. A lot of the times, the HRRR misses discrete supercells that fire, so I'm not too confident we're going to end up with this messy of a mode. I think we will end up with a bit more substantial severe weather than what this particular model run has to show for us. But if we go back to the current radar, the biggest thing is a lot of this will be overnight. The highest severe threat back out here into Colorado, Nebraska, southeast Wyoming, all the way back down to Kansas City, Missouri. Really, you're looking at an very late evening to overnight threat. Storms are probably going to get going about 7 p.m. Eastern, and they're not going to really stop until about 2 a.m. Eastern time. So it's a very late evening into primarily the overnight hours out here for y'all's severe threat. Whereas back up here towards Wisconsin, back down into Illinois, eastern Iowa, it is more of midday. And then also back out here into northeastern Wyoming, southeastern Montana, it is also more of a midday threat. So you have 2 midday threats. I've made a face here. Looks like I've made a shocked face. So on the 2 little eyes here, those are your midday threats, and on the mouth, that is your overnight threat. So there you go. You got two different daytime threats, and then your main overnight threat for severe weather. Bit of a shocked face there for us. Let's see here. I want to go ahead and switch to this really quick. Make sure we are all good to go on this end. There we go. I forgot to turn off ads. Let me get rid of that. I know ads are very annoying. No point in having them on here, so let me go ahead and get rid of those. You'll still get an ad when you click on the stream, but we don't like mid-rolls on this channel right now, at least. Let's go ahead and turn those off. There you go. Okay, no more middle of the stream ads for you guys. Got rid of that. Where will the biggest wind threat be today? Let me just... okay, everything is working. My software was a little bit slow on this stream, this monitor here, so I thought I was having a little technical difficulties, but not really. I kind of feel like this is going to be a bit messy. So I would say out of everywhere, the greatest wind threat today might end up being in Montana. This might actually be your best opportunity for 80-mile-an-hour winds for today. But really, it's all in that hatched area. If we're going by the SPC's standard, it is all in that hatched area, and especially in that yellow hatched area here, here, and up in here. So there's a few spots. It's not just like one region. In my opinion, I think the best chance is probably Montana, because that's a midday threat, but I'm not too sure. It just depends how messy things are. It just depends how messy things are, and I think we could get a random supercell up in Montana that ends up producing 80-mile-an-hour winds. And as for the next few days, it's not too crazy for severe weather. We do have tomorrow's threat for severe storms, a 2% tornado risk, a 15% non-sig wind, and a 5% non-sig hail. So not too big of problems tomorrow out in that quarter. That is like literally the exact area that we highlighted about 2 to 3 days ago for severe weather potential tomorrow. And it doesn't look too bad. The biggest threat is probably just wind. We can't rule out a gust as high as 70 miles per hour, but most likely we're going to end up with 1-inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds, and we can't rule out a brief spin-up tornado. Is definitely not fully ruled out. This is a little bit more interesting. The HRRR has a much more substantial severe threat developing towards the St. Louis metro and on the kind of to the north of the St. Louis metro. I want to see if we have anything picking up on that. There's not a lot of confidence on that. That's a very conditional threat that some of our other models don't really pick up on. So we'll need to watch that. A conditional threat for a locally greater hail threat, tor threat, and wind threat up there towards the St. Louis area. I wouldn't trust that. I would not trust that. That might come to fruition. We'll have to wait till tomorrow to see if it looks a little more or less likely. I'm 50-50 on that. I would not be too concerned about that. It may just disappear overnight. And then as we go into Thursday, an area where I am definitely watching, where I am surprised we don't have a good outlook outline just yet. If we go to our categorical risk, we actually do have a marginal that might be new. I don't believe that was there this morning, but it may have been. But still, I don't think that's far enough to the north for our greatest potential on Thursday. It's close, but I don't think it is. I think we need to have that marginal go up more into northern Minnesota. And I do think Thursday could feature probably one of our better tornado threats, assuming we don't get those conditional supercells tomorrow in St. Louis. Probably one of our better tornado threats in the last couple of days could develop out there into central Minnesota. And I'll show you why. If we switch over to our reflectivity, what we're going to have here is we're going to have a good low pressure that's in place up here into Minnesota. It's going to obviously have a frontal boundary attached to it and around its to its south-southeast, and we're going to be having this morning convection leave the risk area tomorrow. And what happens is behind that morning convection, you'll see a very unstable environment trying to fill in behind that. And that is going to fill in time before thunderstorms actually fire. So wherever we get that decent amount of instability mixed in with closest to that low pressure, that's going to be where we have a pretty good chance to see a few supercells to fire. HRRR, not too keen on that scenario just yet, but I believe that's because it doesn't go out far enough. Whereas you could see the NAM here, if we pull out on that, little bit better of an environment develops, and we do get a few supercells that attempt to fire there very close to your low pressure, but they're not extremely mature, very, very close to your lows. So I do think we'll have the opportunity for a tornado or two being possible in Minnesota. Probably the best opportunity for a tornado or two that we've had in a while. I know yesterday, as you're talking about that in chat there, yesterday did end up being quite an overperforming risk for hail, especially in eastern Nebraska. And that's what actually made today's threat fall apart. We had so many storms fire yesterday, and they were so much more intense, and the storms that did fire actually turned into, especially in eastern Nebraska, full-blown mothership supercells with huge hail. I believe we had 2 instances of winds exceeding 90 miles per hour. And then we probably had like 3, maybe even a little locally greater than 3-inch hail in diameter with some of those giant supercells yesterday. The highest report I see for hail right now is 2.5-inch in diameter, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was locally greater and larger hailstones than that, but they just weren't measured, and or nobody ever saw them, or they could have not fallen. But I do think we saw up to 3-inch hail at one point with those storms yesterday, upwards of 95-mile-an-hour winds, and there hasn't been a report of a tornado. From what I see, there hasn't been a report of a tornado, but we may have had a brief tornado or two as well yesterday. And all those storms were way more intense and also more in coverage. And that allowed for significant morning convection this morning, and it just wiped out the whole warm sector. It went from derecho threat to flop in the matter of like 5 hours or less, actually. In a couple of model runs, it went from derecho threat to flop. And that's exactly what we're just going to have. We're just going to have a flop risk. I should call it more of a slop risk. I also think your 500 millibar trough is a little bit too slow. I'm not for sure, because to be honest with you, I haven't really looked all that much, but I think it is. Yeah, it is. Your 500 millibar trough develops overnight. So you can see this giant bowling ball trough here. Huge bowling ball trough, and then your 500 millibar flow here across Colorado and Montana, or rather Colorado and Wyoming, rather. And then as you go into the overnight hours, it doesn't fully develop until tomorrow morning. That could help with that, with wiping out that conditional threat for supercells towards St. Louis, because you just get a lot of overconvection. So, yeah, thankfully mistimed trough there. But you could see, like, look how many storms fire in that. If we switch to the high-res version, this might show it a little bit better. I mean, if you just didn't have that morning convection earlier this morning and wiped out that warm sector, you could see where those storms fire right in here, which is where the morning convection and now afternoon convection is still located. You only have about 2,000, 1,500 Cape. Not a lot of cape for a derecho threat. So if we just didn't have that morning convection, we would have 4 or 5,000 cape surging northward towards that 500 millibar trough. That trough would swing through and then cause a giant windbag. But thankfully, that looks substantially less likely today than it did just 2 to 3 days ago. And then you can see tomorrow we get all this morning and afternoon convection that wipes out your warm sector up towards St. Louis, so that conditional threat in St. Louis doesn't occur on this model run. But you still do get a good wind threat, hail threat, and maybe even a brief tornado threat to develop south of St. Louis. So we'll have to see with the scenarios tomorrow. That's the problem with summertime thunderstorms, is you end up with a lot more convection or sometimes less convection than expected, and models just aren't very good at handling that. So it's very difficult. You really have to just see what current conditions are and then base your forecast off of those current conditions, and it's very hard to really use any model run accurately because there's so much uncertainty when it comes to especially this time of the month, especially July and August. Those are, even the end of June, but especially July and August, those are like the two insanely inaccurate months for model runs. I would be surprised if many models are even close to accurate. Yeah, they've been bad all year, but they're really bad in summer. That's always been the case, even regardless of the balloon data and stuff that we haven't been receiving as much data for. Is that a cold core setup? No, I don't believe it would be. Let's see, La Crosse, Wisconsin right now. You're in a severe thunderstorm warning, a lot of lightning, as well as some 1-inch hail and damaging wind gusts upwards of 60 miles per hour. So I would be worried about if I'm on like the northeast side of La Crosse. You guys are getting absolutely slammed right now. But if you are towards like the southwest side, you're going to be fine. Not that much. But the closer you are to areas like Cold Springs and Berry Mills, the worse you are going to get it. Because this is actually a fairly notable severe thunderstorm here. A very, very good looking severe storm. It's not a significant severe thunderstorm, but it is definitely a good, solid severe storm. Let me go back to models here. Let's go to the R. You said RFSA 12 or 18? 12Z. 18's coming in now. 18. Oh, that's temperatures. I'm assuming you're talking about composite reflectivity. Did you say a day? This doesn't go out very far for some reason on weatherwise, but I'm assuming you're talking about all of that junk. Gracious day. And see, that just absolutely kills the conditional threat towards St. Louis tomorrow. So we'll need to see how much stuff fires. And I mean, that stuff fires, we could actually do the sub-hourly, which will show us exactly when it fires. This is a more up-to-date model run as well. And yeah, that stuff really gets going towards about 12:45, 1 a.m. Eastern is when that really gets going towards northwest Missouri, northeast Kansas, southeast Nebraska. Changing the music back up. Okay, buddy. I play both songs. I play both songs, so I'll be kind of back and forth. I might do just the first song, I might do just the second song, I might do both songs. It's going to be back and forth. But I can tell you one thing that is being kept is the timer. I really wanted to change the intro screen because we've had that for 3 years. I don't hate the music at all. It's just nice to switch up the music like once every couple years. That way you don't get sick of it. But I'm not, the song that I've been playing for 3 years, that's not going anywhere. I'm not going to get rid of that. That will always be part of the channel, whether it be every live stream or every other live stream, that's going to be a part of the channel. You don't have to worry about that one leaving. Let's see. So, yeah. Let me go over to here real quick. I think I'm going to try to get a video out later today because I've been experimenting significantly the last 3 hours with thumbnails, doing all types of stuff and figuring out what thumbnails may work a little bit better. I want to kind of switch up a little bit of the color scheme. And you've already noticed the background map of the thumbnails have really stayed on one background map. I'm keeping it at that satellite imagery background map for the videos. I want to try to keep that theme on the videos where we have the satellite background map and the live streams are the fully colored map. That way they're more distinguishable. So I'm going to try the video later today after this live stream. We're going to be talking about the cold air. There's a blast of cold air pushing through the U.S. here. If we go to our Euro AI, this is tropical tidbits, by the way. We just go ahead and I'm going to get rid of that screen and I'm going to unlock that screen, which will help me bring this over so y'all can see it a little bit better. There you go. Nobody likes a half-scene model run. So let's go ahead and switch over to upper dynamics. We're going to go to height anomalies. And this cooldown is really going to be over, or really is going to start today. Really today into tomorrow. This cooldown is going to begin, at least in the 500 millibars. You can see this huge trough here that is pushing through this blast of cooler air. Not going to say, I'm going to try to refrain from saying cold air, because we're talking about 70s and low 80s, but in terms of this time of the year being mid-August, that is colder than average. Not cold, but colder than average. And as we go into this is Thursday morning here. Thursday morning, if you are out on kind of the southern tip of this area here, you guys might even stretch into the 50s. I'm not sure when the last time y'all have heard about 50s, but if you are kind of on the edge of that, we're talking about morning temperatures in the upper 50s there. And then back up into Canada, we're talking about upwards, or rather, as low as the lower 40s back up towards northern Ontario, which I don't think that's like too absurd this time of year, but as opposed to what we have been seeing in the U.S., Indiana, Illinois, and Ohio being in the upper 50s, lower to mid 60s is very, very cool. And then by the time you get into the afternoon, unfortunately, once you get to the afternoon, the below average temps pull out. So you're back to average. Tomorrow, Thursday afternoon, you're back into the lower 80s. So it's only a brief relief. But there's this next trough that's going to be forming in here. And a bigger trough that is going to be forming in here, coming off our high pressure, our dominant high pressure. And that's just going to be a straight, almost northwest flow trough. So you're going to have your high pressure here, and that's angling your wind speeds down like this. So you're just going to have this cold air up from cool air up from towards Canada that gets funneled down off into the US. And for Canada, it's average. For Canada, it's average. But once that cooler air goes into the US, it becomes below average. And the trough strengthens a lot more, which is helping to pull down cooler air as well. And once more, Sunday morning, we go to Sunday morning here. This one's going to be a bit deeper into the U.S., even down into the Carolinas here and into the southern U.S. We could be looking at 50s and low 50s to upper 40s out here in Wisconsin, and even cooler temperatures back up towards the of Michigan, as well as down towards the Carolinas, could be into the low 60s. So that's just what I'll be talking about with the video later today. I'll just mention it a little bit more in depth, but that's going to hang around for a little bit. It's just fall like air. It's nothing too absurd, but it's very strange. We've been in this very dominant, strong, high pressure, very strong ridge riding ordeal, which has allowed for us to just get consistent, crazy hot temperatures. As you can see here with your temperature anomalies. I'll have to go back a little bit. There you go. You can see those hot temperatures across Kansas, Oklahoma, average to above average across more areas as well. These little pockets of below average, that's just where where rain is ongoing at. But we've been the bulk of the U.S. has been average to above average for temperatures. And then you can see here Thursday below average across Illinois, Indiana, Ohio. And then as you get into Saturday, Sunday, below average across a good chunk there towards Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Tennessee, Kentucky, even down towards Florida, Carolinas, Virginia. Sunday morning is the East Coast cool down there too. So again, it's important to note that this is just cooler temps out there. You're not looking at anything groundbreaking cold or anything like that, but it is cooler temperatures. But if you're towards Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Nebraska, I'm sorry for you. It's still just going to be hot. It's still just going to be hot. It's not going to get any better. We also have, they just came out with this earlier today for those of you who don't follow me on Twitter. Let's go to this. We actually have tropical formation possible out here west of Cape Verde. We have a very slim chance, just 20% chance for tropical development next week across west of Cape Verde and to the northeast of the Lesser Antilles. And this signal actually is pretty strong on some of our AI ensembles. And then into week 3, they have shifted that a little bit more off to the northwest. You could see that there, another 20% on week 3 towards the very end, the last week, I believe, of August. So tropical formation chances increasing there across the Atlantic basin. And it is, like I said, it's a little bit of a strong signal there. It's nothing too like over the top. Like a groundbreaking type major hurricane or something like that's about to form. But we could get a tropical storm out of it. This is the Google AI ensembles. I checked this earlier today, and it was very significant, very aggressive here on our wave. And you could see it is still pretty aggressive on that wave, still very, very aggressive with the potential of a Category 1 or 2 hurricane in the middle of the Atlantic. But others aren't as aggressive. Let's look at like the GEFS and see what that shows. Yeah, you can see that's more confident in just a brief tropical depression or storm forming. A few still show tropical storm to hurricane, but the bulk of it shows tropical storm to tropical depression being possible in the main development region. Then we have the European AI ensembles. You can see those are slightly more aggressive, but still just right around tropical storm strength being possible. Nothing too absurd, nothing too over the top. And then your European non-AI is actually pretty aggressive, kind of on the same table there as the Google ensembles. So nothing to worry about. If you are in the northeastern and the eastern Lesser Antilles, I would be keeping an eye on it. If you're from like roughly Barbados, St. Lucia, back all the way up towards Puerto Rico, I would be keeping an eye on it in this area. Just in case we do see this shift to the south and it become a bit of a rain threat, kind of like 94L did, I believe it was, out for that area. So I wouldn't expect anything absurd from it. I'm saying like a tropical depression to tropical storm. The more aggressive ones like the AI and the AI Euro and the AI Google DeepMind ensembles, if those stay consistent as we get closer, maybe we could start talking about the potential for a hurricane. But as of now, tropical depression or storm possible towards the end of the month. It's August, so that's going to be almost a given every single year. It's nothing new. Can you see Canada weather warning polygons on your platform? I want to point out the one in Ontario is extremely small compared to normal. If you're talking about these are the new storm-based warnings that Canada has implemented, the National Weather Service up there, which is actually, I believe, the Environmental Service of Canada, something like that. Something around the realms of that. I might be able to check, actually. Doesn't say it. Oh, there you go. Environment Canada, ECCC. ECCC. Yeah, that's the National Weather Service up there. That's what they go by instead of Storm Prediction Centers or the National Weather Service. They go by that, ECCC. And yeah, they've upgraded to storm-based warnings, which is a giant giant upgrade from their old based warnings, and hopefully will help more accurate information get out there for Ontario. And if we do cover Canada, make it more, uh, make it easier for us to convey a message to those out in Canada. Which we have covered Canada, I believe, 3 times, 3 or 4 times. We have covered Canada. The main region we have covered is obviously their tiny little tornado alley, at least where I think the tornadoes are most common in Canada, which is right up in there. And then another area we have covered too, which I think is another region for some tornadoes to be a bit more common, is right up towards here too. I wonder if Canada has a tornado alley. Like, have they distinguished a tornado alley up there? Oh, okay. So it's very close to what I've drawn. So Tornado Alley, the most common area, is right in here. Right in here. And right up in here. Something like that. Are there 2 tornado alleys? Something like that. That's their 2 main tornado alleys. Of course, maps vary. Some of them show larger, some are a little smaller, some are a little different. But roughly, those are the 2 main areas in Canada where you have tornadoes. The U.S., where's the main area in the U.S., you may say here? Let me just kind of give you a circle. I would say the main area is, like, all in here. There's your main tornado alley in the U.S. It's like over half the country. Over half the country is your tornado alley in the U.S. Good morning, Caleb. You made it. I'm shocked. I'm shocked. You missed the new intro music and intro screen. I don't know what this thing is. Funnel cloud. Numerous photos and videos were shared of a funnel near Delaware River in the Newcastle area. I thought I misread Newcastle because I didn't know that was a place out here. Didn't know that was a place out here. Yeah, I messed up on the clock, but it actually ended up working out, so I'm probably just going to keep it. We have a countdown now. We've moved up in the world. We do have Hurricane, Category 2 Hurricane Lala still. Now Category 2. 970 millibar. We knew that was going to make a run for Major Hurricane. I still think it might. I wouldn't be all that surprised if it becomes a very low-end Cat 3, but at the moment it is Cat 2. And then this is something I'm going to watch, because if this does trend to the south, I will talk about it more. Because we do have a radar out here that stretches pretty close to the track of this potential violent typhoon out here. And I want to switch over to Cyclonic WX real quick. I know y'all aren't too interested about the Western Pacific, but on this channel we do like to try to cover as much weather as we possibly can, whether it be in the Western Pacific or not. We don't cover it as often, but it's still something I do like to talk about. And yeah, that's already a crazy sign right there. Let's go ahead and turn that off. Get that back on. I have a new screen that allows me to move it without screwing up my normal screen on Streamlabs here. So let's get rid of that microwave imagery. That was on from Lala. Let's see. Uh-oh, I made it worse. Hey, look at that. It's actually pretty good microwave imagery out there of Lala. I literally don't see where it's on, by the way. I'm struggling to find where this is on at. There it is. There it is. I got it. I got it. We're good. We're good. We're good. Okay. So let's go ahead and pull this out here. I kind of want to get your satellite imagery up real quick of the West Pacific. There we go. Beautiful. That's what I like to see. And let's do true color. Perfect, perfect. Apologies, took me a little while there. I'm not 100% used to this yet. But yeah, so this is what our AI Google DeepMind ensembles are showing for our potential violent typhoon out here. If you don't know, these are very, very accurate. Sometimes they do overdo the intensity. With Lala, the majority of them were showing a kind of a mid to upper tier Cat 1. Lala was more towards low tier Cat 1, so it was overdone a bit. But generally, they are the most accurate ensemble that we have. I'm just curious here. That is a very, very significant. What is that? 933 millibars. So quite easily category 5 typhoon out here appears likely. Let's look at our graph here. Yeah, the average is like a mid-tier Cat 4 there, about 100 hours out. So that's definitely going to end up being a big problem for the fishies out there. We'll have to watch it as it gets closer to Guam. That might be a little issue near Guam. I want to actually take that ensemble back out again. Is that Guam? Where's Guam at? Is this one Guam? I'm not sure which one's Guam. One of these is Guam. Okay, yeah, I'm right. Haha, look at that. Wow, so that's actually very close. The official track right now takes it over the kind of the middle there, which is very close to what the Google DeepMind ensembles show. You can see might get barely to either a low to mid tier Cat 2 looks plausible out of Lala. Not a major hurricane anymore, but it could get there. Oh, look at this. This is funny. Trying to get another tropical storm to pass close to the big island of Hawaii right there. That would be very historic if it manages to cross, just a couple miles to the south. And then, of course, you have your Atlantic signal out there, too. So there's definitely stuff to watch in the tropics. Nothing is too insane other than that violent typhoon. Nothing is too out, like, really impactful towards population here. Eastern Pacific, if we do get a hurricane, it should stay away from land. Lala is going to stay away from land. We might have to watch that tropical storm for a little bit of a close call for the big island of Hawaii. And the violent typhoon is going to be our only thing that we really have to watch for population problems because it might hit towards the northern Mariana, that's how you say it, islands, and then potentially go up towards South Korea or southern Japan. I want to get to a question real quick. I saw someone say something with a question mark here. Where are the storms starting to fire? Are they ready in northern Iowa? So yeah, Iowa is starting to get severe weather in the afternoon here and evening. You guys are more of a midday threat, so it's just isolated severe storms possible there. Nothing too significant. Just watch out for some gusty winds, heavy rain, lightning. Can't rule out wind gusts upwards of 65 miles per hour, hail up to about 1.5 inches in diameter. Will be possible there. Can't fully rule out a brief tornado. The SPC has upwards of actually like 2.5-inch hail being possible. This hatched area means hailstones equal to or greater than 2 inches in diameter possible. I really don't think we'll see anything greater than about a 1.5-inch hail out here towards Iowa and Wisconsin. West Pacific has been insane this year. I believe if the West Pacific season were to end right now, I heard someone talk about it. If it were to, I don't know if this is true, but I heard if the West Pacific season were to end right now, it would actually be above average. Like, even if we just didn't continue the rest of the season, the West Pacific would still be above average since we've had that one very, very long tracked violent typhoon. This dude. Have fun with that, Caleb. Yeah, Missouri is going to be an overnight threat. Missouri is going to be probably the most overnight threat. Let's see here. I have to turn my radar back on. There you go. Just click it. You have some rolling through now, but these aren't the main event. These aren't the main event. Yeah, in terms of ace, yeah. That's what I meant. That's what I meant. Look at the shear in Kansas and Missouri right now. Sure, let's see. I can already tell you it's going to be very good towards Central Kansas. It's not absurd. What? Let me guess. Mid levels are like 300. Oh my goodness, 450. Okay, that's insane. That is insane, and that's going to propagate to the northeast, isn't it? Yeah. I wonder if anything will fire off of that later today. That's absurd. Thank goodness that's capped with minimal forcing right now, because that's kind of an absurd... Oh, gracious. That is quite the absurd environment out there at the moment. Good news is, though, temperature dew point spreads are very high. Look at that. 100 and, of course, the number above 66. So you have absurd temperature dew point spreads south of that boundary. Whereas north of that boundary, it's a little bit more manageable. So even if storms were to fire there, I doubt they would be all that tornadic. They would just be giant hail, which I don't think we will be getting any storms there. If we do, it would be very late tonight, and they wouldn't be nearly as significant as if they fired randomly right now. Let's see. Surprised with how yesterday went, but it does seem like they took all of the dew points. Yeah, yesterday's storms overperformed, like I said earlier, both in coverage and in intensity. And that's just allowed for today's threat to be very mediocre, very mid. It could uptrend a little bit if we kind of see more destabilization occur. But overall, it looks fairly sloppy to me. It looks just fairly sloppy. I'm not really expecting a whole lot out of Kansas and Missouri later today. Just so much downtrend. So much downtrend, man. This feels like a type of downtrend that we saw back in like May or April, May. Or rather, no, May, June. No, April, May. April, May is right. April, May. Type of downtrend we're seeing with like over convection being a problem and morning convection being a problem and even sometimes Cape being a little issue. You wouldn't think Cape would be an issue in August, but here we are. Could be an issue since we've had so much morning and afternoon convection. I'm going to just keep these tabs open since right after this, I'm going to start making that video. I hope to get a video up at about 6:37 Eastern. So look forward to that if you guys can. You can watch that. It would be really, really appreciated. I'm going to try to get it out as soon as possible. Right when I end this stream, I'm going to go and make it. So it just depends how much I yap in the video on how long it's going to be and how long it will take. I'm hoping 6 o'clock, 6:15. I'd love to get it out that early. I should have made it earlier today, but to be honest with you, I was just lazy. No excuse. I was just lazy. You have some days like that. Violent tornado ongoing, Kansas. This isn't 2024 now. Every conditional threat doesn't just fire. This isn't 2024. It's 2026, the year of Illinois. Now, if that conditional threat was in Illinois, yeah, I'd be way more concerned. But it's not, so we're good. We are good. Severe weather's starting to die down, man. It is. It's starting to die down. We're starting to lose some of our really, really good potential for severe weather. This high pressure is going to break down pretty well. We'll still keep the hot temps, especially. I'm so sorry if you live in Oklahoma and Texas. We'll keep those hot temperatures rolling, but the high pressure will break down, which will allow for probably a less opportunity for severe weather. It's going to be a lot weaker of a high pressure. It's not going to be this dominant, strong high pressure that we've had over the last month. Let's be real. Ever since like late July, we have had a very dominant high pressure. And that's really going to start breaking down early next week. I'll show you. So we'll definitely keep the chance for severe weather, 100%. But you can already see, like today, our high pressure is looking not very strong there, not very robust. And it does come back towards the weekend. You get that good flow going again. Your very large, robust high pressure comes back. It's looking good again towards the weekend. That's going to be actually what helps bring in our cool air. This trough here is going to be bringing in that cool air. This high pressure is going to help push that down even further, make it a little bit cooler too. And then early next week, we might have severe weather threats, at least somewhat continuing, but not good severe threats. And you can see this high pressure breaks down a bit. Look at that. It gets very tiny. Now it's a very tiny high pressure, not very strong early next week. And then it kind of builds back, but it's still just kind of pulsing there. Not a very robust high pressure. And then it's very weak. And then it actually goes extinct on this particular one. It really goes extinct. Not very much of a high pressure there. So, I would say this good high pressure is going to stick around for another week. It's going to stick around for another week. And then it should break down. What happens when it breaks down? I'm not too sure. We might move to conditional severe threats only in the Rockies and not too much severe threats back out here towards the Mid-Atlantic and towards the Midwest. And who knows, that might be what really starts our fall pattern. Maybe we start getting into the swing of things of cool air. I'm actually interested. Let me take a look at the long range. Ooh. Definitely not the cool air I was hoping for. That's the dead opposite of cool air. You flip over, actually. Your high pressure goes from southwest to due east. Instead of a southwest high pressure, it becomes a east coast high pressure. So we'll see. But I think our severe threat chances will be decreasing. We're still going to have it. We're still going to have it. For sure. Don't get me wrong. We will have severe weather for the rest of the month. I just think the chance for any solid severe threats where we're talking about a tornado outbreak or a derecho or like a hail outbreak like what we had yesterday. I think those opportunities are going down. Like I said, I think that stops early next week. Or, yeah, early next week. I was going to say maybe, yeah, it looks like early next week. Oh, yeah, I think the high pressure is going to continue. It's just going to weaken. It's going to weaken. It's still going to be a bit present there. Like you could see your general high pressures right in here. It's just extremely weak. And so you start getting more of this normal zonal flow here across the U.S. It's just not going to be this dominant high pressure we have this huge high pressure here and a huge high pressure here that fuels instability up here. This pulls troughs from the Pacific Northwest, and it creates this train of significant severe weather from the plains to the Midwest. That pattern should be getting rid of that. All right, y'all, I just wanted to get in here. I know it was a bit of a shorter live stream. Some of you guys are just now tuning in. I apologize. I want to go get a video done. I haven't had a video out in a very long time, so look forward to that. I'll have a video out for the strange pattern flip that we're going to be heading into with cooler temperatures, more fall-like weather, and I'll be testing a new thumbnail on that. I have a few little ideas for that. So just a little live stream, nothing too crazy here. I just wanted to do a more severe weather update and tropic update live stream because my video is going to be primarily focused on the pattern shift and the cooling of temperatures out there in the eastern U.S. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Like I said, I know some of you guys are just now tuning in. Again, we're only doing an hour today because I want to get a video out here in about an hour, hour and a half. So you do have that to look forward to. And outside of that, I don't know when the next content will be. We'll just have to see. And yeah, thank you for all tuning in. Thank you, Pete and Caleb. I believe we're the two main mods here who modded chat, as well as Legacy. Thank you guys for modding chat. I appreciate it. And everybody for being in here. Again, apologize for the bit of a shorter live stream here, but I really want to get that video out and, you know, actually have a video out on the channel in the last month because it feels like I haven't had one in a while. So about that new intro, I'm just going to keep it how it is for a few more live streams. We'll see if we can adjust to it and how I like it. But I might flip it around every now and then. But I do like the general ending there. So we're going to switch back to it. The timer is going to pop up, but don't worry. We can get rid of that. We can get rid of that. Flop this one back on, the OG one. So appreciate you guys for being here. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday. I will see you guys in the video later today. If you can remember, about an hour, hour and a half from now. That's roughly 6:30 Eastern, roughly 5:30 Central. Go ahead and go on the videos tab here on this channel, and we should have a video out talking about that pattern flip and that cooler atmosphere that's going to be pushing into the US. So once more, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday. Stay safe, watch the severe weather and the tropics, and I will catch y'all in the video in about an hour, hour and a half from now. Goodbye. Stay safe, watch the severe weather in the tropics, and I will see you guys in about an hour for a new video. Have a great rest of your Tuesday night. Goodbye.